Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be going over how to add, edit, and manage the collections on your Shopify store. So, collections are Shopify's term for essentially your store categories. So, when you create categories, for example, this is one category called a catalog, and you have all these products in this catalog. So, this is considered a collection. So, you can create multiple collections for your Shopify store to help with organization and the shopping experience on the front end of your website, and you have a few different options on how you can populate and manage those categories. So for the purposes of this video, we're going to be using collections and categories interchangeably, but collections is the term that Shopify likes to use. So first off, from the Shopify admin, we can go to products and we're going to go to collections. So by default, when you create a Shopify store, Shopify gives you this one collection over here called homepage. So we're going to create our own collection here. And from the top down, you can give the category a title. So let's call this paper bags. And you can give it a description. This is a collection of paper bags. So when generating your category, you have two options to choose from over here. You can either create a manual collection or a smart collection. So a manual collection is the old traditional way of doing things where you can choose check mark by check mark which products are specifically going into a collection. And just like the title says, it is a manual process. The other option you have available are smart collections, where you can essentially create rules that if products follow these rules, they will automatically get added and removed from the collections. So, for organization and time management, we always like using smart collections where we can, but not all stores support it, and it might not be useful in every specific case. So, it's important to choose which one is more preferred for you. The one thing to know is that once you create the collection and assign the collection type, you can't change it without deleting the collection and creating a new one. So try to choose which one is more preferred for you from the start. Otherwise, you're going to have to delete the collection and start all over again. So we'll start with a manual collection. We'll create one manual and we'll create one automated. So we'll do a manual collection, and then down here, you can select the products that are going to go into this collection. So you can either search for them by name or you can browse them over here and just check off the boxes of the ones that you want to add to the collection. And down here, you can control how your collection appears in the Google listings and in the search results. So Shopify will automatically generate a title and description based off of the title and description up here if you don't manually set one. But over here, we can do paper bags for consumers and add a little bit of detail. So now this is more of an updated title and description. Not necessarily SEO optimized. I would suggest putting in a little bit more thought into your title and description, but this is just for display purposes. Now down here, the URL handle, this is the URL that people are going to use to get to the collection. So down here, you can see the full collection URL that people are going to use, and you have the option to change the end of the URL. So Shopify doesn't let you change the beginning of the URL because the beginning is your domain name / collections, and that's standard for every Shopify store. But you can change the end of the URL, also called the handle. Shopify will automatically generate the handle based off of the product title, but you can change it to whatever you want. Just make sure that you're only using letters and numbers, that there are no spaces, and any spaces are replaced with a dash, and that all the letters are lowercase. So you can change it to whatever you want, but in this case, we'll leave this as paper dash bags. Now, up here, you can control where you want these collections to be available. So when you're selling on multiple sales channels like Walmart, eBay, Target, Etsy, and these are all connected to your Shopify store, you can control the categories that are shared to these other sales channels. So by default, usually online store is selected when the collection is published, but if you want this to only be available for certain sales channels, you can select and deselect them here. Now, you can also have an image to represent the collection. This is important because if your collection is shared throughout your website, this is going to be the image that will typically represent the collection. So you can assign a collection image over here, and you can also change your theme template for the collection. So the theme template controls the layout of the collection when you're viewing the collection page. Sometimes different stores have different collection page layouts, and you can toggle them here. If you are a beginner Shopify store owner, or you are not a developer by trade or don't have access to a development team, we don't usually suggest that you edit the theme collection, but if you have multiple layouts to toggle from, you can adjust that over here. So once your collection is complete, you can click save, and you can click this view button to see what your collection looks like on your store. So when creating your collection, you also have the option to control some of the sorting options. So just like the sort by best selling is here, it is also being shown on the front end of my website here. So if I decide to sort by alphabetical, now the front end of my site will be sorted by alphabetical. So Shopify gives you these default sorting options to choose from. So you can sort by oldest and newest, so newest additions to the store or the oldest additions. You can sort by price, you can sort by title, you can sort by best selling, which best selling isn't really going to work until you have some store data coming in, or you can sort manually. So if you choose to manually sort, you can take these 6 dots, drag and drop the items in the order that you want them to appear. And if you update that on the front end of your website, it will reflect over here. Shopify doesn't show the word manually when it shows the sort, it shows featured. So that's what people are going to see if they see featured sorting. That means that you sorted it manually. Now, with this being a manual collection, you can also create automated collections. So if we decide to do the same thing, I'm going to skip over some of the other parts that we discussed already, but I'm going to make this a smart collection. So over here, you can adjust the rules that apply to this collection, and you can have it either be where all of the rules have to be matched for the product to be added, or any of these rules to be matched for a product to get added. So we'll start simple, and we'll say that if the title of a product contains the word bag, get added to this collection. So now we can add rules based on all these criteria. So product types, categories, the name of the vendor, tags, prices, compare prices, the weight of the product, all of these can be used to create different rules, and certain rules can be used for different scenarios. So if you want to create a category for the different vendors that you offer, you might create vendor-based rules. If you wanted to create a sales category and you wanted items that have a compare price and a slash through to appear in that category, you might create rules based off of compare prices. So in this case, we created a title rule. So if the title contains bag, here it is. Now, if we add an additional rule, let's say any item that is a bag and has the word large in it, that's going to be what's added to this collection. So now we'll set it so that the title has to contain the word bag and the title has to contain the word large. So now, if we save this, refresh our page, the amount of products is going to significantly cut down. And now we only have 4 products in this collection. If we set the condition to be any instead of all, Now, any item that has the word bag and any item that has the word large is going to, or any product that has the word large is going to get added to this collection. So now if we made that the rule, now we have a lot more products. And they either have the word bag in it or they have the word large in it. So once you have your collection set up, you also need to share them on the front end of your website. So just because you create the collection here doesn't necessarily mean that it's automatically going to be available on the front end of the website. You will still need to add the collection to your navigation, and we go over the navigation settings in a separate video. One other tip that I will leave you with here. So on the collection page, you can take a very quick look at which collections are automated collections and which are manual collections based off of this column of product conditions. So if a collection is automated, you will see the conditions over here. If a collection is manual, you'll see a blank space where the product condition should be. So that's how we know that this is a manual collection, this is an automated collection. And you will also see the total amount of products in that collection over here. Another thing to remember is that you may see products appearing in the collection, but if the status is not set as active, it still will not appear on the front end of the website. So a draft product can appear in the products if it follows the rules or is manually added, but it also needs to be added as active for users to interact with that product. Finally, if you want to go ahead and delete a collection, you can also bulk select them over here. You can bulk edit collection rules just like we discussed previously, or you can delete the collection over here. But all in all, that is how you would add, edit, and remove collections from your Shopify store.